Nel mezzo del cammin di nostra vita mi ritrovai per una selva oscura che la diritta via era smarrita. One was a poet who walked through the 9 circles of hell and returned to write what he saw. The other, an artist, born 500 years later, who read these exact words and saw a nightmare that demanded to be unleashed. And this copy is a survivor. Its pages are yellowed, its spine is scarred. It has a story of its own. Today, we will turn these fragile pages together. We will descend through the gates of hell, and you will see firsthand how a poet's words and an artist's nightmare conspire to create our eternal vision of the underworld. This is our vessel for the journey. It's not a modern reprint, it's an echo from the past. I found this edition tucked away, and honestly, its history is a mystery. There is no clear publication date, no barcodes, its true age is lost to time. But Dante's story begins where all our journeys do, in the middle of the path of life, lost. Dante finds himself in a dark wood, the straight way forward lost. His path blocked by 3 beasts. First, a leopard, the symbol of the treacherous lust. Then, a lion, the embodiment of violent pride. And finally, the most terrible of all, a she-wolf, representing an insatiable greed. These are not just monsters, they are his own sins, made real, pushing him back into the darkness. And it is here, at the moment of absolute despair, that his guide appears, the Roman poet Virgil, the ghost of reason, sent to lead him on the only path to salvation, a descent through the 9 circles of hell. The artist who illustrated this descent, Gustave Doré, was a man possessed. He poured his own fortune into this project, risking everything to bring his nightmares to life. What you are seeing is not just art, it's a desperate, magnificent gamble, and this is the point of no return. Once through the gate, we are not yet in hell proper. We are on a dark plane, the Inferno, the lobby of the damned. Here, tormented by wasps and hornets, are the neutrals, those who in life refuse to take a side, for good or for evil. They are so despised by divine justice that they are not even worthy of entering hell itself. Their path ends here, at the first great obstacle, the river Charon, and its ferryman is Charon. The ray depicts him exactly as Dante describes, a terrifying old man with eyes like burning coals, who beats the soul onto his boat with an oar. Once across the river, we enter the first circle, but there are no screams, no physical tortures. There is only the endless, heavy sound of sighs. This is Limbo. This is the home of the virtuous non-believers, the great thinkers, poets, and heroes who lived before Christ, or died unbaptized. Here are Homer, Socrates, Plato, even Virgil himself belongs here. Their only punishment is psychological, but it is infinite, a desire for God that they know can never be fulfilled. It is a sorrow so immense it darkens the very air around them. Leaving Limbo, we descend, and it is here at the threshold of the second circle that every soul must face its final, terrifying judgment. This is Minos, the great judge of the underworld, and it is here that the true hell begins. He is not a dignified arbiter, he is a grotesque beast, a symbol of the raw, mechanical nature of divine justice. Dante's invention here is pure genius. Minos listens to the confession of each soul, and then delivers the sentence without a word. He wraps his long, monstrous tail around his body a number of times. Equal to the circle of hell, the soul is condemned to. 1 called for limbo, 2 for lust, 3 for gluttony, and so on. And the first souls to be judged are the carnal sinners. Welcome to the second circle, the home of the lustful. It is here that we see the law of the Contrappasso in its full, tragic force. As you sinned in life, so are you punished for eternity. In life, these souls submitted their reason to their appetites. They were swept away by the winds of passion, and so, for eternity, their punishment is to be swept by a violent, unstoppable infernal storm, denying them peace or rest forever. And among them, Dante finds two souls still clinging to each other, a whisper of humanity in the chaos, Paolo and Francesca. Francesca tells Dante their story, how she was married to a cruel man but fell in love with his younger brother, Paolo. One day, while reading a romance about Lancelot and Guinevere, their passion overflowed and they kissed. In that exact moment, her husband discovered them and murdered them both on the spot. But human tragedy in hell quickly turns to the grotesque. We descend further into a ceaseless cold and stinking rain. Lying in the filthy mud, unable to even see their neighbors, are the souls of the gluttons. And guarding them is their perfect warden, Cerberus. The three-headed hound of hell, with his blood-red eyes, barks like a dog over the souls, clawing and ripping them apart. The Contrappasso is brutally clear. Those who in life overindulge in the finest foods and drinks, seeking only to satisfy their appetite, are now forced to lie in filth and waste for eternity, themselves becoming nothing more than food for a monstrous beast. And Virgil, in a moment of genius, silences the monster not with a weapon, but by throwing a fistful of filthy mud into its three hungry mouths, satisfying its endless craving with the very punishment of its victims. Leaving the stench of gluttony behind, the descent continues, and we discover that some punishments in hell are not fiery or monstrous, they are simply eternal, pointless toil. Welcome to the fourth circle, the realm of greed. Here, for the first and only time, the sinners are not individuals, but two vasts, opposing armies locked in an endless war. On one side, the hoarders, who in life accumulated wealth obsessively. On the other, the wasters, who spent it with reckless abandon. Their Contrappasso is a perfect mirror of their earthly sin. Just as they lacked all moderation in life, they are now forced to push enormous, useless weights with their chests, crashing into each other for eternity. They scream at each other in a pointless accusation. Why do you hoard? Why do you waste? It is the perfect image of a meaningless, materialistic existence, transformed into a meaningless, eternal struggle. The journey now takes us to the edge of a great swamp. This is the river Styx, and its stinking, black mud is not water, but pure, undiluted rage. Here, the wrathful, who let anger consume them in life, are eternally consumed by it in death. They are naked, covered in filth, savagely tearing each other apart with their teeth. They rage now their entire existence. But look closer, the mud is bubbling. That is not swamp gas. Those who in life harbored a silent, resentful anger in their hearts now have their punishment, to be submerged in filth for eternity, forever trying to form words of sorrow that can only emerge as choked, gargling bubbles. And it is here, across this river of rage, that we see our destination, the towering iron walls of the city of this. This is the great dividing line. We are leaving the sins of incontinence behind. We are about to enter lower hell, the realm of pure malice. Beyond the walls of this, the stench of burning flesh fills the air. Welcome to the sixth circle, the realm of the heretics. These are the souls who, in life, choose to believe that the soul dies with the body. Their Contrappasso is one of the most brilliant in the entire Inferno. Because they believe the grave was the end, their punishment is to be eternally trapped within a fiery tomb. They yearned for oblivion, and in return, they received an eternity of conscious torment in the very place they thought would bring them peace. Deeper still, we pass through the circles of violence, against neighbor, against the self, and against God. A realm of boiling blood, twisted forests of suicides, and burning deserts. And then, welcome to the eighth circle, Malebulge, or the evil pouches. This is not a circle, but a vast stone amphitheater of corruption divided into 10 concentric ditches, a theater of fraud where every form of deception is punished. Here, flatterers are submerged in human excrement. Corrupt priests are stuck head first in fiery holes. Every ditch contains a different, twisted punishment. In one, the great hero Ulysses is hidden in a tongue of fire, damned for using his godlike intellect to deceive. But perhaps the most unforgettable punishment in the entire realm is reserved for those who sowed division. Here we find the sowers of discord, and their Contrappasso is brutally, terrifyingly literal. Those who in life tore people apart through political or religious division are now themselves physically torn apart for eternity by a great demon with a sword. After being split open, they must drag their mutilated bodies around the ditch, slowly healing, only to be struck again when they complete the circle. Nearby, we find a different kind of deception. We see a slow, solemn procession of monks. They appear dignified, holy, but this is the ditch of the hypocrites. Their punishment is a masterpiece of symbolism. They are forced to wear magnificent, heavy cloaks that are dazzling, gilded with gold on the outside, but are made of solid, unbearable lead on the inside. In life, they showed a beautiful outer appearance of piety that hid a heavy, leaden reality of deceit. Now, for eternity, they are forced to bear the true weight of their hypocrisy, a beautiful lie hiding an agonizing truth. Leaving the theater of fraud, we do not descend into fire, we descend into an endless expanse of ice. Welcome to the 9th and final circle of hell, Cocytus, the frozen lake. For Dante, the greatest sin of all is not born from passion or rage. It is a sin born from a cold heart. It is betrayal. And so the ultimate punishment is not to burn, but to be frozen for eternity in ice, stripped of all warmth, all movement, all life. The Contrappasso is absolute. The coldness of their hearts in life has become the eternal prison for their souls in death. And it is here in the section reserved for the traitors of their country that Dante finds the single most horrific scene in his entire journey. He sees two souls frozen together in one hole, one of them gnawing ferociously on the back of the other's head. This is Count Ugolino. Ugolino tells Dante his story. In life, he was betrayed by the Archbishop Ruggeri, who locked him and his innocent children in a tower to starve to death. Ugolino describes the horror of watching his own sons die one by one, begging him for food. His final, ambiguous line hangs in the air for eternity. Then, fasting had more power than grief. A line that has been debated for centuries, implying that in his final agony, he might have eaten his own dead children. Now, his eternal punishment is to enact a cannibalistic vengeance on the man who starved him. It is the ultimate horror, a story of betrayal so profound it has erased all traces of the divine from the human soul. Finally, after a journey through every form of human sin, we arrive at the center of the universe, the source of all gravity and all evil. And it is not a king on a throne of fire. It is a prisoner, trapped in the ice created by the beating of his own wings. This is Lucifer, the most beautiful angel, now an impotent, three-faced monster, weeping tears of blood. He is the ultimate traitor who betrayed his own creator. Each of his three mouths is an eternal punishment for the greatest traitors of human history. In the center, being flayed by Lucifer's teeth, is Judas Iscariot, who betrayed divine love. In the other two, Brutus and Cassius, who betrayed the pinnacle of human society, the Roman emperor. Doré does not depict him as a figure of power. He depicts him as a machine of eternal suffering, trapped at the heart of his own cold, meaningless kingdom. He is the final, tragic lesson of the Inferno, that the ultimate state of evil is not rage, but total isolation, an absolute absence of love. This is not the end. It is only the bottom. Having witnessed the ultimate state of evil, Dante and Virgil begin their ascent, climbing down the body of Lucifer himself until they pass the center of the earth and emerge into a dark cavern on the other side of the world. Because for Dante, the journey doesn't end with escaping hell. It ends with reaching heaven. And the same artist who dragged us through the abyss was also tasked with showing us the path to redemption. He illustrated the mountain of purgatory, a realm of hope and purification, and the celestial spheres of paradise, a realm of pure, blinding light. But of the hundreds of visions he created for this masterpiece, it is his terrifying, magnificent descent into the Inferno that the world chose never to forget. Perhaps because it reminds us that to truly appreciate the light, we must first understand the darkness. Dante ends the first part of his journey with a line of pure cathartic release. E quindi uscimmo a rivedere le stelle.